What is going on, YouTube? Hope you guys are doing fantastic. Today, we're bringing you guys just an updated build format, just going through all the starters, talking about which ones are good, which ones are bad. Those have stayed kind of same, kind of consistent. Nothing's really changed too much there. And then just touching on the starters we saw rushed, or the items we saw rushed at the tournament, the value I find in some of them, some of the sneaky ones, and then we'll talk about the new healing trees for both physical and magical to let you guys know if there's something you have to worry about in support. So starting with the physical side of things, I'm just holding up Naja just so I can touch on Protector's Mask, because you can't do that when you're playing something like Horus or Herc, who I think are also very good supports. So like for gods like Fenrir, Serket, Naja, Herc, Horus, and then some other warriors that you maybe enjoy playing. We'll kind of be touching on all those gods and then the starters we think are going to be going. So currently, I think Warflag is still very bad, and then the problem is you will also receive 8 bonus gold if you are the lowest gold on your team. A lot of the times, supports are not the lowest gold on the enemy team or on the team for the first 5 minutes of the game. The laning phase, you actually get a lot of gold from Sentinels or a lot of gold from Benevolence, and just a lot of like just AFK gold and not last hitting gold, assist gold. So Warflag is just a very, very bad item in that regard. It's just going to put you behind almost automatically for not a lot of benefit. So still no more Warflag or no Warflag until we see an update to that. Protector's Mask. I think Protector's Mask is still pretty good. If you plan on building really tanky and you want to be just like a harass type of assassin, I think Protectors has a lot of value. If you're planning on building like a cloak into defense, into defense, into defense, and you're not really building any power, Protectors has a lot of value in that regard. I think Sentinels for most assassins, and then a lot of the warriors also, I think it is more valuable. Being able to go into the Sentinel's Embrace or Sentinel's Boon just for a big protection boost to both physical and magical, and then allow you to go a damage item somewhere in between. Benevolence has a lot of value still, because I think Heroism is very, very good on those dive warriors. You can give that big shield to your assassin or your warrior when they're getting CC'd, or if you're playing a little bit more backlining like Horus does, Heroism still has a lot of value, and sometimes even Compassion is the better option. Now, touching on the 3 best options in my opinion to start your build with: Prophetic, Thebes, and Magi's. I think Binding can be okay for physicals. I think it's a little bit stronger for magicals, but I think it still can be okay. Prophetic Cloak is going to be very strong on the assassins and the warriors that you can get it stacked on. Naja stacks it really well. Fenrir, Serket don't stack it all that well because they have to kind of all in to get a stack. Same with Herc and Horus. I don't think they stack it all that well. But gods like Odin stack Prophetic very, very easily, and that is their preferred option. But I think gods like Serket kind of need to go Cloak, even though she doesn't stack it very well, just because it's one of the few ways to make her super valuable is when she's just kind of unkillable and her damage is still okay. I think Thebes is just the safest option a lot of the times. If you know you can get Cloak stacks, Cloak has more value, but if you cannot get Cloak stacks, then Thebes is going to have way more value. Nothing's really changed with Thebes. Magic is kind of the newest one. We saw it ran a couple times at this tournament, and I've actually been testing it a little bit, and I think it actually has a lot of value as a rush item because now it gives early protection. So it's 30 of each and then 10% cooldown along with the Magi's passive where you get the beads every 70 seconds, the crowd control immunity. I get as a lot of value in games where you are going to be the one punished if you don't have a way to avoid that CC. I know it was ran on Horus a couple times by Jake when he had somebody on the enemy team that was just going to be trying to kill him, and it allowed him to just kind of play a lot more open and go in when he wanted to and then not worry about getting CC'd. So I think Horus is one that does very, very well with Magi's, but it's just kind of a per game basis is if you need it to be able to get in, or if you need it if they're trying to get onto you, Magi's has a lot of value. Now, one of the reasons I think Naja is still a very good support, one of the reasons Horus and Hercules are very good supports, Breastplate of Regrowth. This item is statted way too well. It's got a really good passive. It gives kind of everything you need except health, but even then, it's not that much of a worry just because of how much health warriors kind of get anyway. And then Assassins just gives you kind of kill potential because it's giving you power and it's giving you movement speed to catch up. So Breastplate, very, very good on a lot of those gods. If you're going just one magical defense item, Heartward Amulet into the upgraded Glyph, the one that gives you 15% magical or physical production, 15% magical protections from your physical protections. It has a lot of value. It's always going to be good. So got to touch on that, obviously. And then the last one before going to the new tree, Spirit's Robe. Nearly every game, Spirit's Robe should be built. It is such a value item. If they ever try to poke you out, if they ever try to all-in you, Spirit's Robe is just going to be giving you a big boost of mitigations, so it makes you very, very hard to kill. Now, the 3 newest items in the tree, Caduceus, Vital Amplifier, and Sekhmet's Scepter. We'll start with the worst one, Vital Amplifier. This is more of a solo lane item, maybe an assassin, a jungle item, but there's really no place for this in support. It's one that's just kind of amplifying your own damage, which you don't really need as a support. Catechist Club, Caduceus, I don't remember how to say it exactly. 30 power, 250 health, 20 MP5, 10% cooldown. along with a passive giving you healing dealt increased by 30%, and then an aura that gives 10% increased crowd control reduction and 4% movement speed. I actually think this one has a lot of value in support. I don't think it's like OP or OP anything, but the amount of stats you're getting in this item, you're getting power, health, MP5, cooldown, crowd control, movement speed, increased healing, just a ton of stats for 2,400 gold. If you can get a stacked Thebes or a stacked Cloak, regrowth, and then CAD Club, you're going to be nigh unkillable, and you're going to be able to kill the backliners and also help your team with that big aura. So CAD Club, I do like. Lastly, Sekhmet Scepter. After trying it a couple times, I don't think there's a ton of value in it with support. I think maybe junglers and solo laners can still make use of it, but I think it doesn't feel that impactful with the 0.5%. A lot of the times I'd rather just have another item or even the CAD Club just in general. So I don't think Sekhmet is very good. Now going to the magical side of things, we're going to hover Aphrodite because she's probably one of the best gods in the game right now. Sentinels, Benevolence, Protectors, War Flag. Same thing as the physical side of things. War Flag is just not good. It needs to have the niche thing of being lowest gold. That needs to be gone before you can actually make use of it. I think Protector's Mask for mages is not that great. I think a lot of the time being able to go a damage item with like a Thebes or a Cloak will feel a whole lot better. But if you are planning on going full defense, I think Protectors with Cloak is a very good combo still. And it'll stay pretty good as long as you can get those protection stacks online from Cloak. I think Sentinel's Gift is probably one of your best options right now because it just combos really, really well with Cloak. If you don't have a ton of Cloak stacks, you'll get a ton from Sentinels. If you are maybe falling a little bit behind from Cloak, Sentinels is just something that gives you a few extra protections to maybe turn the tides. And then you also are allowed to go a damage item in between the Cloak and the Sentinel's Gift, which makes Sentinels feel even better. But Benevolence, always going to be one of the best ones in comp. Heroism is very, very strong. Compassion is very, very strong. I think it still stays pretty similar where if you're planning on playing backline, I think Benevolence is a lot stronger. But if you're planning on building some damage, want to be able to get into the enemy's face and threaten them, Sentinels has a lot of value. But Benevolence's Heroism, Compassion, all very, very good options for the magicals. Thebes, same thing as the physicals. It's just something where if you can't get Cloak stacks, it's still a very, very good option. Hasn't changed. Cloak, can you get it stacked? Mages stack it actually really easily just because of how much range they have. So I think Cloak on mages is a very, very good option. Nearly every mage, a lot of guardians, maybe half the guardians can use it very, very well. And then Cloak, the same thing as the physicals. Cloak, a lot of value if you are the one getting gone on. If you're playing something like Emoja and they're planning on just trying to kill you off cooldown, Magis has a lot of value. Lastly, for the rush items, Stone of Binding. I think Bracken still uses the item really well. I think Bacchus still uses the item really well. Outside of that, I don't think I would really rush this item too much, but it's 2,300 gold, so it's not that expensive, and it still feels very, very good once you finish it. And then to talk on Spirit's Robe again, a lot of the times, Spirit's Robe is going to always be a very, very good item to go as a support because it makes it so it's just a lot harder for you to get one shot in those late game fights. With the new magical defense or the magical healing tree, Last Gasp, Rejuvenating Heart, and Rod of Asclepius. Starting with the worst one again, Rejuvenating Heart. I don't know if this one has any value in any role. A stack of 6% healing is consumed by the next ability or the next heal from an ability. Maybe like some spamming guardian would want this, but even then you're just kind of healing yourself. Mages in mid, you don't really want to be spamming auto attacks or abilities on the enemy. So I think this one also is not statted very well. It's just probably the worst option of the three by a pretty wide margin. Last Gasp, it's the more aggressive one. 100 power, 200 health, 200 mana, 15 pen, and then you get power based on the missing health of your teammates. I think this item would have been a lot better last patch where power mattered for your heals, but this is just powering up the damage from your abilities. 90% of the time, you're not getting enough value from this because it's just for you doing damage. And it also pairs pretty bad with Mask. If you're planning on going Mask with Last Gasp, don't do that because you're reducing your own damage until you actually finish your Mask. And then at that point, you have to make sure you have enough protections. But if you do get to the full build, maybe it's not that bad where you have protections and then you have the Last Gasp. You're not lowering your own damage. I still think it's okay. I think it's more of like a fun item to build and support. I don't think it has that much value though. More a mid lane item. And then lastly, Rod of Asclepius. 90 power, 250 health, 250 mana, 30% healing increase, and then allied gods within 30 units have 10% increased crowd control reduction. This one is probably one of my favorite like changed items for like the past year. This one makes it feel like you're being super impactful to your teammates in a more aggressive way instead of like a passive like give aura. It's kind of like a Pythags, but it feels just a little bit better. I think Pythag still has a lot of value, but Asclepius is something where if you're being just a true healer, you have this as an option instead of just going like Pythags or going in Asclepius that doesn't really give cooldown. So I really like Asclepius in support. If you're a healer, it's a very, very good option. But that is the updated build guide or updated builds, just to give you guys the recent information. If you guys have any questions, ask down below. If you guys have any video ideas that you're interested in seeing, something like a tier list or something, if you want to just know where I value the support, stuff like that, let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you guys like the video. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. See you guys again next time. Peace.